Adventures in Adversity. This is a podcast where we talk to real people who share real stories about how they've turned life's adversity into an adventure. So we've taken trauma, turned it into testimony, and the purpose of this podcast is to keep it real so you out there feel less alone as you're navigating life. So welcome to episode 98.
I am in a new place, so that's why my background looks super duper dull, because I got a new classroom and school's about to start, so I'm in my new classroom and it looks really, really plain behind me.
That's okay.
Check back in 3 days and you'll see some stuff, but I am a plain Jane or a Jim, as one would say. So you're not going to see much on the walls, but it'll be something.
I feel like you need to give us some education on what you teach, where you're at, and the secret to managing a high school classroom. Because I don't know how that's done.
The secret to managing it?
How do you handle
Okay.
high
So
school?
let's start off with this. I am a basketball coach and I also teach mathematics at the high school level. I've taught pretty much whatever you wanted to think of. I've taught it. And let's see here. This year I am teaching a hybrid class. We're going to it's called the sandbox class. I'm going to mix personal finance with business finance with statistics.
So you had me until the last part, and then I want to cry when you say statistics, but the first two I think are awesome.
All right, well, just think about it this way. If you're trying to start a business or say you want to do a podcast, there's some statistical analysis that you have to do in order to be successful. So in your space in Adventures in Adversity, you would kind of verify, kind of look at like, okay, what's out there in terms of podcasts? How many are there? What are they getting at and stuff like that? That's analysis and that's the statistics that's behind it.
You're right.
And then how long should we go? Should you have a 1 hour episode, a 2 hour episode, or just like a little 10-minute blurb episode? That kind of stuff will go into how you organize your podcast as well.
Yes. I was always intimidated by statistics for some reason, but I never gave it a chance. So maybe
give it
I
give
will
it a
give
try.
give it a chance.
Give it the old college try will help you.
But I think it,
I'll blow a whistle and say go, and Bree will be just statting.
I think it's amazing that you're teaching personal and business finance because that is so needed. Can I take your class? Because I'm learning both too.
I would say yes, but really no, because you've graduated, so now you're done.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
You got all the high school stuff you can get.
Okay.
Unless, of course, you come back and teach, Bree, because you can come back in here and be a guest speaker. And as you're sitting in my class, you can learn some stuff.
Okay.
About
Done and done. Done and done. So as you guys see,
I'll make you episode 100, and then I'll delete that, and then I'll make you episode 107, and then I'll figure out that that's not right, and then we'll go to 110. So you'll be 110.
I know. Okay. So little backstory. I had a great conversation with Irv a few months ago in California. Now we moved to Tennessee. I accidentally deleted it. And then now he's going to just recreate the magic of the first episode.
Won't be doing that.
No, he will. Because you know what? There's one thing you said from that first episode that I actually think about when I'm a little anxious. And we'll get to that. You have to watch the rest to find out what Irv told me. That is very, very helpful.
Yeah,
but
hopefully I remember.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is. If you don't bring it up, then I'll cue you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Irv, I just gotta be real. You're a badass. You're a basketball coach. You're a father. You're a teacher. You're a friend. You're a great, great person. You're awesome. And I'm super grateful that our families met. And what I didn't know was that you had adversity early on in the environment, the city, the surrounding areas that you grew up in. Like meeting you, I wouldn't be like, wow, I don't know. You just never know what people are exposed to at an early age. And I was
saying I don't give up Guns and Roses.
I just didn't you just don't no, I mean, like, I didn't I guess I
I
don't
didn't
know
know
what
you were from Chocolate City or okay, got it. I got you.
anyway, I you just it's interesting whenever you hear someone's story when you realize that, wow, like, everybody I just when you describe the things that you had to see at an early age, like, in the inner city, it was just surprising, because I guess I don't I'm just rambling. Just you take
Yes.
over now, okay?
No, people live there. That's what you wanna be thinking about. People live there, and then there are some success stories.
Yeah,
Everything is not
yeah.
rainbows and sunshine, but you can make it out of there, and I'm living proof of that. So that's the thing to take away from that, I suppose. But definitely gotta give a lot of props to mom and pops because they grew up in it in themselves, and so, growing up in DC, both of them born and raised in DC, and then had kids at a young age in DC. Getting out of DC, the statistics behind that were not very high. See, plug a stat right there for you. Being a black male in DC, the numbers at the time were really, really bad. Came up through the crack epidemic, crack babies and stuff like that. That was really bad. I didn't have to deal with that part of it. I just got to see it all the time. So you just get to see, look outside your window. Yeah, you see a lot of stuff.
So
But
you just and it like, major kudos to your parents and
big
God bless
props.
your dads. I know your dad's looking down on this.
Congratulations, mama. She's here to see it. Dad knows already, so we don't gotta I'm talking about it, but yeah,
You if your mom watches this, you raised a great man, and, it's just
I will I
and
will send it to her if of course, if it gets
if I
to
don't
print.
delete it by
If it
accident.
gets to print, I will let my mom see it. If it doesn't, it'll be tough. I'll just say it that way.
I'm sorry. This is why I need a team. I need help. Anyway, but no, for real, so you had a very
BrianneWilson.com, send a message, she'll help you.
there you go,
There
there
you
you
go.
go. Please help. So you grew up in DC. You have 2 siblings, right?
Yes.
Are you the oldest, middle, youngest?
I am the oldest.
You have the oldest vibe, and I have the youngest vibe. So that makes sense. No, so you're the oldest, and you told me in the now deleted episode that you kinda gave me
I can't remember what I said in that episode, so, I just keep referencing it. It's gonna be great. Like, in the deleted scenes, and
deleted
people will be wondering what happened there. But
exactly.
go ahead.
But no, in all seriousness, you had said, and then I'm gonna stop talking again. You you grew up, you were, like, kind of right on the outside of DC, right? Like, on the outside of the city? Do I remember correctly?
I lived on the border, yes.
On the border. And
I wouldn't
then
say outside the city because I'm definitely within the city.
you were in the city.
But I was on the border of DC, Maryland. It actually posed a few problems because you lived on the border. Because back in the day, when you were police and you chased people from DC, guess what? DC cops could not do? They could not go into Maryland. That was not their jurisdiction. So you'd see a lot of people dip through the streets and then ride right across the border into our neighborhood and to get away from the police.
So
Yes.
and you gave credit to your parents early on for basically keeping you involved in activities and keeping it real with you about the choices you make, right? Take me through what was that like as a kid?
Okay, it was basically we stayed in the house. Yeah. So I don't know how to
That
say that a different way. We stayed in
no,
the house.
you stayed in the house.
So when kids went outside and played, we stayed in the yard and played. When kids went and walked around the neighborhood, we stayed in the yard. Good news is my dad got me a basketball court and put it up in the driveway. So if I wanted to go shoot, I could just walk outside. And the neighborhood kids would come over to my house and they would shoot outside my house so I could play basketball outside in my yard. Yes. So that was the advantage. So the elements kind of came to the front door, but also with that, like, my parents were in the community. And like, realistically, it's kind of funny. Like if you grow up inside of that stuff, like everybody knows that you're kids, so they leave kids alone. And if you're going to do something with yourself, they leave you alone because you're doing something with yourself.
Uh,
If you're BSing, then they will mess with you. If you're out where you're not supposed to be, they will mess with you. If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, they will mess with you. So you kind of learned, I'm going to school, I'm going home, I'm walking to the store, I'm walking back, and like all that stuff happened like very quickly. And then when the lights came on, you really went in the house because it
yeah.
was yeah.
No, and I just can imagine at that point, and obviously we met through church and everything. The immediate thought I had too is like having parents and having parents who guide you, and then also God and church community. From what I remember that from our last talk, that was introduced by your parents at quite an early age too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we was at church from when I to like since I can remember.
Yeah.
There was a couple of little bit of time in there where we didn't go to church, but it wasn't because we didn't have church. My mom played the piano, so if she would like do a praise and worship thing, and we would like read a scripture or watch a pastor on TV. My dad loved Dr. Frederick Casey Price, Ever Increasing Faith Ministries, so they would play that. That's actually how he became a Christian by watching that TV pastor.
Okay. Nice. So what Irv, like what very big question. So feel free to take your time with this one. But when you think back to, let's say, childhood, early adolescence, if anyone listening, maybe someone is early adolescent, or maybe somebody's has a child that is struggling, or I don't know, like what coping skills did you develop as an adolescent, whether that was through your parents, through church, through just growing up? What helped you through
Yeah.
adversity
All
like
right,
that?
so I'll say it this way, I hated everything about my childhood.
Really?
I really did. Yeah, and then when you got older, as I got older and learned a little bit more about it, I recognized that that was necessary. And so then I became to hate it a lot less. But like when I was a teenager, from like 10 all the way to 18, I hated a lot of stuff. I mean, I liked people and I was a personable person. I wasn't, I mean, I smiled, but I was a very angry teenager. And it was like not shown angry, it was like internal angry. And then
Yeah.
I had to like work through that and recognize where my anger was placed and why it was there. And it kind of helped spare me to the stuff that I do today, where work with teenagers. That's kind of why I do it.
Yeah. You're a basketball coach and a teacher, so you can absolutely relate to.
Yep. Basketball actually kinda saved how I think of my childhood, really, and I was a pretty good student once I figured it out, but again, I didn't show my student skills until I was playing basketball, and I had a reason. So, like, "Oh, you gotta play basketball. You wanna play basketball? You gotta have good grades." Okay, cool. So then I started to play basketball, and then my grades adjusted as accordingly, and after that, it was kinda just curtains, like, okay, grades and basketball went hand in hand, gotta make sure they build them both, and that was good.
Yeah.
I did a lot of work with my hands with my dad. I did a lot of construction, built refinished basements, built decks,
Ooh.
and did stuff like that. Like, so I had was very handy. So my childhood, my summers, and then like we get home, you're like, okay, we're gonna go, finish somebody's deck out. So we go to the store, get the boards, measure it out. So you're kind of like practically doing mathematics all the time. So practical mathematic applications was happening all over the place when I was a kid, learning about like pressures and putting up studs and building walls and finding when you this is kind of back in the day before you had all the technical stuff, but put 24 piece and then you put the board on it and then you got to find that you got to nail it in the hole and get that next spot and so you can nail the board up so it doesn't fall down. Kind of important piece of information.
Well, and you built the deck in your backyard, didn't you?
I did. I built that one in my backyard. Yep.
Amazing. So that's cool that I I think working with your hands and like getting in that flow state, like I'm just even like now learning how to cook and stuff, like, hey, late bloomer. But I can imagine when
It's
you're growing
okay.
up,
We have all have our things, Bree.
hey, you know? But no, I think it's cool. Not only like bonding with your dad, but just learning the the craftsmanship and like taking pride in like piece by piece and then math and then committing to a project and then also the feeling of like building something that somebody's going to use.
Yeah.
There's not enough of that now, obviously, but if you don't mind, and feel free to tell me to take a hike, do you mind? And I'm curious because Braden just turned 11 and I want to be the best mom I can be. What kind of anger did you have? And like, what was helpful, or was there, no, I guess you had that anger. Do you mind sharing any of what might have driven that and how you worked through it?
Well, yeah, how about the fact that, like, I don't necessarily know if it comes with all boys or whatever, but, like, recognizing that you are a target to a lot of criticism, to a lot of, you know, you're a target to other black boys, you're a target from the police, you're a target of adults because they see a young man walk down the street, they are immediately scared. You're a target because you're taller and sometimes you're bigger than other people, and you kinda, like, wanted to just be like, "I just wanna be regular," but you can't be regular because there's nothing about you that says regular, and so, you walking around, my parents didn't have any money like that, so I never had any, like, brand name gear or nothing like that, so I'd walk around kinda, and this was before everybody had, so, like, now everybody in DC has uniforms, but before you had uniforms, you walked around with clothes and, you know what clothes they are because everybody saw them on the rack at the local. It would have been what you call now Walmart, but it wasn't Walmart back in the day where you wearing Walmart clothes and stuff like that. And it's just
Yeah.
like, you just, and so like it kind of just makes you tougher and toughen you up, but also it make you a little bit angry because you're on edge, you're watching, and then you like to see a lot of stuff that kind of just makes you angry because you're there in it. And you kind of gotta have a stone face when you walk around, because if you don't, then people are going to think you're a little soft and they're going to try and try you. So like little stuff like that where, and that was anger that was kind of built up, and then you kind of read and you're learning stuff going through school about like your history and how you got here. And how I don't know my grandparents. I didn't know my great grandparents. I know about the slave trade and kind of where we ended up and how we ended up there. You grew up in the DC area, you learned about the Mason-Dixon line. You see the government stuff that was happening. My parents grew up, and like I said, you grow up in that crack epidemic where everything is just like it's crime and people are like really strung out on drugs. And then people lie to you about like, oh, the effects of, you learn the effects of, what they said, the marijuana and stuff like that was as bad as the effects of smoking crack. So, like, kinda they put all of that stuff in the same level when you went through the program, and it's like those are not all the same level. So, you kinda learned about that, and then you get older, you learn about other stuff they told you about crack versus cocaine, and how cocaine was okay, but crack was a problem, but, like, I'm like, and you're more learning, the more learning you do, the more upset and pissed off you get. You go to school, I went to school in Tennessee,
Hmm.
and then I've had episodes with the police officers in that situation coming back home that was hard to deal with. I had a situation with my sister that, the police officers tried to raid my sister's house because they assumed that she was lying. So, and, just with guns drawn, guns in my sister's head, and you just hear about this stuff. So everything just makes
Yeah.
you mad. And
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do about it, so you just bottle that anger up, and then it just, like, you gotta figure out how to, like, put the anger towards the right situation and the right people.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, that's where the anger came from.
Sure.
A lot of that came from that, and then, you gotta slowly but surely work through that. Like, it's not a thing you can, like, just get rid of immediately.
Well, and thanks for sharing that. I know that's not that I appreciate you opening up about that because, like, again, you have such a calm presence about you that I'm actually surprised to hear that you seem so calm and regulated and like, I appreciate you opening up that like you also have or had, anger. I'm sure we all have it, but how did how growing up did I guess two-part question. How
About the
did
same.
two-part. How did God and God's presence, what you learned, help you through that period? And then how does your relationship with God now, has it changed? I mean, of course it's changed, but talk to me about God in any capacity through that.
Okay, so as a child, I think I looked at God as hope, but I know when I grew up and like growing up where I grew up, everyone that spoke about God was kind of basically like stay away from hell. And so my whole experience from my childhood was you're scared out of your mind that you're going to end up in hell. And everything that you knew was going to happen around you, you didn't want to get caught doing something wrong because you do something wrong, you'd end up in hell.
Yes.
And then it's like every third word was blah, 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 hell, hell. And so it was very, very much like,
Scary.
yeah, it was scary, but also it was like, it's scary on one side, but on the other side, it's like, stay away from that and you won't be in hell. As I got older, I started to understand more that it wasn't a stay away from this, you're going to end up in hell because you're saved. Like I understood saved better as I got older and what God meant by being saved. And so it kind of loosened up the stresses that I had in my life for like, because you go through stuff like that and somebody picks on you or somebody says something to you, you wanna fire back, you wanna fire on them, you want to beat somebody up immediately, like, somebody looks at you wrong, you ready to just, like, throw hands, and, you kinda walk around with that same attitude and that same feel, and it's like, I remember many times going somewhere where it's like, okay, if somebody pick on you, I try to let it go and, like, hold it because 'cause I'm like, "If I blow up, then I gotta kill him," is how I felt about it, and so I was like, because I knew how it went in my neighborhood. Like, if you go at somebody else is going to turn around and come back at you, and you always got to worry about retaliation. So I tried to stay out of the way on that stuff because I was like, I don't want to get retaliated. But if somebody comes at me, then I gotta, and like I've played it over in my mind plenty of times where I had to take somebody out, and even and that's me being in church and Christian and all that stuff, like, like, that was a thing that that you had to kinda do in your head to work through. I remember, going to school. I was going to a public school in DC, Spingarn, and every morning we had to walk through a metal detector, and my mom was pissed about it. She was really upset that we had to walk through. She's like, "You gotta walk through a metal detector." 'Cause, I mean, she grew up around the corner from that school, and she was pissed that I had to do it, and I remember always thinking, like, man, I felt great about it because I knew when I came in there that nobody else had anything that I had to worry about because they ran everybody through a system and patted people's pockets down. So I was like, I could just be in here and be cool and be chill. I don't gotta be on super edge. So it definitely lowered the amount of people that were in the school because the kids just wouldn't show up. But it definitely when you went to school, you didn't feel like
Yeah.
all the doors was locked out. There was one way in, one way out of the school. So I felt comfortable with that process. And when you get older and you start to see and you go out further out and it's like, everything is behind a glass window. And like you walked into any convenience store, the whole store is behind the window. You told the guy what you wanted. And then you paid it between the glass and then they put it there. You went into a bank. The bank, everything's behind a big, huge glass shield. You go in and put stuff under the bank, it's glass shield. And then I went out to like further out in DC. You got to like see people and like they were just talking to you, and there's like, there's no telling or nothing. So I was like, that's crazy.
You would see, like, different ways of living as you got
Yeah,
further.
yeah, as you got further away from DC. And I was like, that's crazy. I was like, I don't got no, you don't got, you can walk in here and just and grab what you want and then go to the store. Or, otherwise you could go still if you wanted to. I'm like, yeah, I guess. So my point would be like, you grow up in that situation, in that environment, you look for God as hope. And then when I went to college and I love basketball for this because I was able to kind of travel and see different places and different things. I went down south, the dirty south, where it was heavy, more racism. It was not very many white people
Yeah.
and black people mixing. It was just like, there was a couple of guys here and then all the way over there. So, I got to see kind of variations of that. And then I went out to California and you learn a little different culture stuff from different places. But being able to being able to grow in my understanding of what salvation meant didn't have to do with right or wrong. It had to do with believing and not believing in God, and the belief that God there, and then let God take care of that. Let God change your heart. Let God do the work.
Mm,
That was a big shift for me, and it had to be like a slow shift in that process. Although I saw God consistently throughout my life, but that process was slow on building to that point.
that's good. It's like a surrender to like, hey, I'm gonna need some help with the anger or whatever. Like it's like a I mean,
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, I don't think I never asked to get rid of the anger.
okay
I never did. Like, I don't even know if I've gotten rid of it actually fully.
because it's justified.
I call it what I actually call it is fuel. Like when I got mad at stuff, where I got really mad, it fueled me into like able to like do something. If everything's rainbows and sunshine, you never really want to go and do anything because everything's going great. It's not until something's going wrong that you want to do something, which is why I teach math. Like I didn't think that I would be a math teacher, but I teach math because like I saw, this going wrong. I was like, we're teaching math a way that doesn't make sense to most people. And then all of the math people that I knew, they were just happy with being part of the 10% of people that got math and was like super happy that other people didn't get it. And I was like, that's kind of whack that you're happy that you're in an elitist group. I was like, does that really, that doesn't even make sense. Like, if we want everybody to understand, you want somebody to talk to you on a level, but
Yeah.
you don't want them to learn it from their standpoint. And
Yeah.
so, being able to like convey concepts and things like that, that was a big thing. And my dad gave me this one speech that he told me a while ago, you know, you don't complain unless you plan on fixing it. And
That's
so,
so good.
yeah, you complain about it, but you better have a solution because if you complain with no solution, then you're just complaining.
Then you're
No
just
one
negative
wants to hear
energy.
that. Yeah, no
Then
one wants to hear that. No one cares what you're saying if you don't have anything if you're not going with it. Same thing with, coaching young men at the junior college level. Went through it
yeah.
myself, making that stride and that changeover makes a big difference for those guys.
Yeah. So you're mentoring both your students in the classroom and then you're mentoring and coaching your junior college basketball players and prepping them for college and life and whatever their next steps are and then you're raising your two amazing kids who I adore who are friends with my kids
Glad
and
you called them amazing. I do love you guys. If you see this, I love my baby girl and my baby boy. They both started school today, and so I'm excited to hear about that for them. But,
you have you
yeah.
have great
Yeah,
kids. They're great kids.
yes, but you gotta go through all the stuff you gotta go through. You gotta get to where you need to be. So, they're in the middle of going through it.
They're going through the things, and I have no doubt you and Kendall, who Kendall's on episodes I'll
Way
put the
before this, episode way, way
episode way
before
before
me.
this. As you're listening, if you'd like to meet Irv's lovely, lovely other half, go down in the show notes for her episode and her book, because she wrote a book called Different, children's book. She's working on the second one. Had to give your wife a shout out.
Yes. Thank you.
So check the show notes for wifey down there. But back to you, Irv, back to you. No, your kids are fantastic because they're just hilarious, polite, and I love them. They're great.
It's crazy how well they are in public versus how they are at the house. It is so crazy. But I'm very, very thankful that my kids are wonderful young men and women.
They are. They
Yeah.
are. They're really great. When I have like when I used to have the four kids in the car, it was like comedy hour, just listening to the conversation between the four. Okay, so let's see here. One thing you said, I'm jumping all over because this is my brain. One thing you said on the last episode
As
that
long as
I
it's not your
did,
brain on drugs, we're good. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. I remember these commercials like,
the fried egg
yeah, did you see the fried egg? This is your brain, and you got me an egg. This is your brain on drugs.
sizzling. Yeah, I remember
Cooking.
that. It's burned in my brain too.
Yeah, there
Well,
you go.
I'm just all over the place. I remember you said when I asked you about adversity in the episode that is floating around in the cloud somewhere deleted. You talked about how is it bulls or animals or cow like, it was either bulls that they run into the storm?
Okay, yeah.
It was like
So
great
it
adversity.
was like a conversation between a cow and a bull, and, like, if you see a storm coming, cows, they run away from the storm, and what ends up happening if you're a cow and you run away from the storm, you're in the storm longer. You're trying to get away from it, so you just in the storm longer because the storm's rolling with you, you're running through it, and you're both running through it, and the storm stays longer. Whereas a bull, the idea would be a bull, you see the storm's coming, the bull see the storm coming, they run through the storm, and so that bull runs through the storm, they're through the storm faster. So the idea is like if you're scared of it, it takes longer for you to get out of it. You run towards it, it'll be quicker when you know it's coming. So
I
you got
I
your eyes
can't
open.
I can't tell you how many times I've thought about that, and I feel like you probably growing up, your childhood, the environment that you had to navigate, and then just different aspects of your life, you really couldn't run away. You had to go to it, and it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, the way you faced it,
I
even
think
at a
I s
young
it
age.
felt like I spent some time running because I moved around so much, which is why I was glad when I got my adversity when I was older. I felt like I did a running, but then I came back to it, and I was able to, like, kinda just live in that fact of the things that went south and build through that and, and build on it to make it better.
Yeah,
I the running part was more like a reset because people don't know me here, so I could be a different Irv, or I just have my graduated now Irv, and so now I can be, "Okay, this is the new and improved Irv because now I want this thing to set up. And then this is the new and improved Irv because I can want this thing to set up." And like, "Oh, I messed up with that situation. Okay, cool, I'm over here now." And it was, basketball had you moving around, so it kinda felt like I was running from things.
mm,
It felt like that. It wasn't like I was trying to run from them, but it felt like that, and just the fact of, like, pushing through something and then coming back to it, where it don't run anymore, kinda that resonated with me, and also what also resonated with me is, like, I take it back to when my parents used to tell me that I was gonna get a spanking or get in trouble, and so you would just sit there and think about for forever what's about to happen, and like you're like sweating bullets and you're just nervous and you're frustrated and you're on pins and needles and you're always walking around, and then it happens and then after that it's over, right? Well, what if you just like, okay, I know it's going to happen, so I just went ahead with my life, let it happened, and then that process would just be that 5 or 6 minutes that you went through it as opposed to the 12 hours. So being able to address things where it's like, okay, all right, that's coming. I'm gonna have to deal with it, but I don't need to deal with it right now. So I'll deal with it when it comes. And when it comes, I'm gonna deal with it. And then when I've dealt with it, it's gonna be over. It works so much better because the fear makes it 10 times worse.
oh, yeah,
And so
the
I
anticipation.
use this
Go
I
ahead.
use it in a couple areas of my life, like when I get needles and stuff like that. Like if I tense up, you make the needle last a lot longer. So you have to relax and see it coming. Okay, you're going to get hit and you relax and you don't tense up, then it doesn't hurt as bad. So
Yes. Well, and another thing you said, I love that for everything, like, face it, and then rather than running from it. Another thing you said that I've also thought about in our deleted episode that still lives on because 'cause I'm referencing it.
the lost tapes,
The Irv Diaries.
you can have a whole thing and then someone will find it future,
We'll
you
find
know.
it. We'll
No,
find
no,
it.
not in the next 10 years, but like when they get better technology, they're like, here it is.
They're like, "Who are these dorks?" No, I'm just kidding. One thing you said, for real, I always think about the bull thing when I'm, like, avoiding something. I'm like, "Oh, just run towards it. Damn it. Be a bull. Outrun it." And then the other thing you said that you say to yourself when you have any kind of, like, anxiety or "oh shit" moment, you go, "Wait a second. I've been here before." Was that you or was that someone else? Or should I make that up? You've said that. You said that in the last episode. You said, "I've been here." Wait, "I've been here before." Or
Sure,
maybe
let's
I'm
go
just
with it. Let's rock with it.
well, then what do
I'll
you
say however you want to say it, Breed. It makes work. So let's say that I said that, since I don't recall ever saying that.
do you believe that? That that's a good thing to say? "I've been here before. I got this."
Well, my dad used to tell me there's nothing new under the sun. And so, like, legitimately, the nothing new under the sun thing is like, I feel in a certain way. And if I feel this certain way, then somebody else felt that certain way. It might be like 2025, right? But somebody went through that same feeling of antagony and agony before. And realistically, what I've been learning through, like, digging deeper into scriptures and stuff and understanding things a little bit better as I get older. Jesus specifically went through most of the things that you're going through just so you can have a template on how to deal with it. So if you actually had to think about like one thing that you had to deal with and then go to the story of Jesus, and he's in life for 33 years, you can pick the scenario that he either talked about it in a parable or he explained about a scenario that happened in his life.
So good.
Most of it has to do with sacrifice though, honestly. I mean, and like, Adam sacrificing with Eve, and then what is that? Noah sacrificing his son sacrificing his family and stuff
Yeah.
and leaving everything behind. And then I think it was Abraham. That was it,
Abraham,
Abraham
yeah.
and sacrificing Isaac. Those type of things, like, mirrored Jesus and the sacrifice that the God and sacrifice to Jesus, like those things all mirrored. And it's like, shoot, I can use any one of those situations to talk about the fact that, like, it ain't about me. It ain't about me.
So what you're saying is that Jesus can give you a master class on adversity. Just let him know what you're going through, and he'll flip to the page and be like, "So, here you go."
Well, Jesus could do that, but I think more of it is your wantingness to learn about it. I don't think that he slaps you in the face with stuff because that wouldn't be Jesus like. He lets you figure it out. You got a certain amount of time. If it took you 40 years, took somebody else 4 years, guess what? You both got the same outcome. So congratulations. One might have went through more adversity than the other in the 40, but somebody might have went through tougher times than the 4.
Mhm.
And I'm definitely appreciative of my adversity because it made me solidified about how I feel now about my walk with Jesus. Like getting shaken off my square is not a thing that can happen because of all the stuff that I went through and went through and got through. And
Mm,
thanks to God, like it's not even a question really.
yeah.
But, sometimes you hate saying that kind of stuff because it's like all adversity, and then you remember Job, and it's like, well, I don't really know if I want a level of adversity to happen for me to make it to the side where I get everything back. So, like, let me just get like 10% of that. God, now I'll deal with it. But like, I think he was posted there just to show you that no matter what you go through, you're good. And if we celebrate Paul the way we celebrate Paul, I mean, getting stoned a bunch of times, and, I just don't know what people think about when they hear the word getting stoned. But, like, getting hit with a rock hurts. Getting hit with 300 rocks, I'm pretty sure hurts more. And then getting dragged out of a city and then left for dead, and then having to spend time to let your body heal and get up and then walk back into the city to just go get stoned again. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. But like that happened and he did it and then being put in jail without having been done anything wrong. I mean, that's tough. Like a lot of this stuff is really, really tough, man. And if you just sit there and listen to it and you kind of read the Bible and you see like how mentally they got through those things. Like the mental aspect of making it through adversity is all about the fact that your eye was never on the adversity. Your eye was on the success behind the fact that you know you're going to get out of it. It's
Mm,
not going to stick around. And so, like, man, it's really powerful, and I wish that upon for everybody. I know everybody isn't there yet, but I wish it for everybody that they could get through that. Like, hey, no matter what, you're gonna get through it. It's okay.
yeah. That was good. That was really good because I only later in life have I learned the about who the disciples were and, like, the amount that they went through and the fact that all of them were then also killed, right? And refused to
Or
renounce.
persecuted.
Yeah. And it's like such a good reminder. I'm so glad you brought that up, that if you're going through adversity, just pick any one of his disciples or go to Jesus and just like, especially, I remember my friend Michelle telling me I was like new to reading the Bible, and she's like, just start with Job. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm like, who's this Job guy? And I was like, damn, Job. Job could be on the podcast for sure. But I remember that's all she said. She's like, just read Job and I'll talk to you in a few days. I was like, so that's a great reminder that like anything you've gone through, Jesus leaves a template and some like beautiful psalms and like things to make you feel like you're not alone.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm checking
Yeah.
time.
If
7:20.
God and s if God and Satan had a conversation and it was like, "Hey," God was like, "Hey, have you considered Job?" I'm like, hopefully God and Satan don't have a conversation, be like, "Hey, have you considered Earth?" Because like, I mean, I've had a few things go on in my life. I mean, he may have had that conversation. I'm just glad that Job did it first, so I don't have to do it twice, Like, thank you, Job. I appreciate you. You, God, Jesus, all of you guys, I thank you all for making it happen so I don't have to. I appreciate it. I really do.
No, well, I mean, you just make a great point that there isn't anything. I love what your dad said. There's nothing new under the sun. You might feel like you're in your room by yourself going through the worst thing and you're the only one going through it, but you're not. And like you said, you will get through it. It's mental, it's taking that and turning it into fuel, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. If someone is like, I would love to get to know this God guy, and I've heard a little bit about Jesus, and I don't know, like I'm probably like if they're just like how where should they even start in your opinion if they don't even know how to pray? Like what advice as somebody who has mature relationship with God and you've been to church and been in the scriptures, what advice do you have to somebody who's interested but maybe doesn't even know where to start with God?
The hardest step to take that I've heard from many, many people, and it's not me, so don't this is not like a herb quote, is the first one. Just move. I mean, everything else would take care of itself. If you feel like I'm struggling here and I don't have a figure out how to do that, guess what? If you just start moving towards God, just moving towards God. There's a God direction and there's a not God direction. Just move towards God. And he'll be like, or just sit there and be like, God, I'm struggling. Guess what? Something's gonna pop for you because he put us here so that we can be thinking, feeling beings. Somebody's gonna come by you and be like, and because you're in that mode, you've heard it 15 times, but because you're in that mode, when you hear it that 16th time, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, that's when I'm taking that trip. And so like those things really, really matter on that, like your mentality at the time. Okay, I don't, and it's weird because like I see it all the time. It's like I tell a kid this. Somebody random walks by and says, "You know what? I'm a trainer, and I think you should do this." And it's like, "Yeah, I should do that." And then they start doing it. I'm like, but honestly, that's how it goes. Like you sow the seed,
There you go.
the harvest gets reaped. That has nothing to do with you. All you're tasked to do is just go out there and keep sowing the seed. And
Yeah.
then when the person is ready, when to be on that fertile ground, when that person will take hold, then they're good to go. And if your ground's not fertile and you want fertile ground, or you get to that place where you're like, I can't take this no more, you were never designed to take it yourself anyway. So when you get to that point where I can't take it no more, and you have in your mind, God can help here, just move towards God. You can reach out to that God person that that's a Christian person. You could just like text them like, "Hey, bro, I'm struggling," and God will deal with that in person and be like, may invite you to church. That God would deal with that person like, "Hey, let me pray for you," and then then it's on you at that point to decide like, let me learn more about him because you're not gonna know everything. I'm 47 years old. I've been in the Bible for sure, like, that I can remember, for 42 of the 47 years, and so, I mean, it was before that, I'm sure,
Yeah.
but my point is, like, I can remember from 5, but I still don't know all there is to know about God, and I don't think I will. So, like, let me not pretend like I'm some all-knowing person. I'm not. What I'm saying is God knows. He knows your heart, he knows where you're at, and he'll work with you, but you gotta want the help. I had this very good demonstration when I was a kid in church, and it was like, you ask God to help you with something, and then you sit back. You're like, help me move this board.
Mhm.
Help me move this board. God, help me move this board. This board is bothering me. It's in the way. It got blue tape on it. Help me move it. And then you just sit there. God, I need help moving this board. And you just sit there. Can you please help me? Put your hand on it and move it, and now we're getting somewhere. So, I mean, it's just you gotta
Gotta
start something, and it works. That's how I got married. I was like, I'm done trying to pick my wife, whatever, because like, it was just not working, and
Yep.
then I like, "Forget it, I'm done." And then, at that point, then stuff started to line up the right way, and then things started to work in the scenario, and then I ended up, reconnecting with Kendall, and stuff started to go the positive way, and I was like, I'm just gonna roll with what you say, God, and then just make the decision, and then just roll with it, and like he'll let you make decisions, and you make all your decisions all you want, but if you do it at your own, you'll keep hitting your head against the wall. Do it with God, then he'll open things up, and now I got a great family, a great house. Situation is awesome. I'm not in the bad place that I was in before, and it's all because I stopped trying to fight it and listen, and then just went with it.
That's so good. And I'm glad you said to reach out to somebody that you know that is walking with God, because that has been huge for me too, is like your wife, people like Kendall. I was like, I'll join a Bible study. And I'm like, I don't know anything. But then people are like, just come along. Like Christians want to help. Like, and
Just come.
and then, you know what's great? Like in those moments being like, God help me. I don't know what to do. God, then people will be moved. God will send people, and people will suddenly think of you and be like, gosh, I don't know why I was thinking of you. Like, I'm praying for you. And you're like, you'll start to see those things happen where you're like, there's just no way. There's just no way. All the God moments just keep happening. And then they never stop. I don't know about you, but they don't
No.
like stop. You don't like run out.
No, they don't run out. I mean, there is some times where God is like dealing with you to push you to do something, and you could be a stick in the mud, and so it seems like it's stopping,
He's not doing
but you're
anything.
you're you're just not listening, So it's just like, all right, well, let's see how many times, if it's like, okay, take a right and you take a left, and then you hit the wall, and then you take another left and you hit the wall, and then eventually those 3 lefts will get to that right, and then you'd be like, oh, I should just took a right.
Yeah, totally. No, it's just I would say community is amazing, and I just wanna call you out too for you practice what you preach, Irv, because when I had a tough moment a couple months ago in church, I was just going through a challenging situation, and I just broke down in church, and then you came up after, put your hands on my shoulder, a couple people came up to me, and I was like, "Wow, this is real." Like, this is community, like, and I just people were praying for me, and they're like, "What can we do? How are you? How can I help?" And then a couple hours later, I had a text from Kendall who wasn't there. "Hey, how you doing? How you doing?" Like, you get these troops that rally around you, that it's pretty incredible when you find a community of believers, even if it's 1 or 2. It's pretty life altering. So thank you for that. I know I thanked you at the time, but thanks again for you were being an awesome brother in Christ and good friend.
The good news is you think nothing of those type of things, and it means the world to someone else, which is important. It's really important.
Yeah. It's that, yeah, those little moments when you comfort someone mean the world. So, Irv, we're coming up to the hour. I want to, first of all, thank you again. I'm gonna let you do a wrap up, so we're not totally done yet. But I want to thank you for just opening up, especially as a man. I think it's important for men to talk about adversity, mental health, physical health challenges. You're a strong man, and but I appreciate you opening up about anger and things like that, because I feel like men don't always get the chance to do that. Us ladies are always, yapping. So I appreciate that, because you're giving other men the opportunity to be vulnerable, or even just maybe they're listening and they're like, I'm not the only one who felt anger, or whatever that is. I just want to give you the floor for any messages about adversity, and you take as long as you want to just leave us with anything you want to tell our listeners about adversity.
I'll just say it's on its way. How about that? It's on its way. But you don't focus on it. If you focus on adversity, you're gonna be stagnated by not doing anything. Just go and have God order your steps. If you don't know God, He will order your steps. And so that the stuff that, even if you make a mistake, even if you make a misstep and you turn the wrong way, He'll turn that into something positive. And like, I'm a living proof of it. I was the baby born before my parents got married. I was in my mom's tummy when she was going to school. And I was able to go through school and get through that. I had to fight the idea of being a potential aborted baby, and being going through that adversity, that built something in me and helped me think things through and make decisions. And again, that my mom's misstep got me to here and got kids going, and I'm teaching and coaching
Yeah.
and trying to affect lives of young people all over the world, and that helps me. That helps fuel me. And God, God's not dead. He's alive. That's one. The second thing is, like, you can't lose with God. You can lose things, you can lose situations, you can lose family members, you can lose your health, but something is going to come positive from that. And that's that hope, and that belief is still there, that you can help somebody else through that situation that's going through it, that doesn't know. And the belief in God has to come from somewhere. So please just understand that, like, things happen, things happen. It's just, what are you doing with that adversity? Are you turning it into a positive? Are you looking at the great things that can happen? Because you can always look at the negative, or you can look at the positive. So look at the positive.
That's a really good wrap up. And I'm gonna leave it at that. And I'm gonna put all your info in the show notes here.
Possibly,
You
possibly
know,
everyone. This
poss
may be this may be Dark Lane demo tapes too, just so y'all be prepared.
this will hit the airwaves. But no, Irv, thank you for giving me another chance to record and
It
not
was a
to.
way better background the last time. I just want you to know.
I know, I know. Well, don't kid yourself. When you and Kendall come visit, we're doing an in-person, probably a panel. We might do a panel episode. Might have to get some panel with you and Kendall, you know? Just saying.
Sounds awesome. Let's do it. Did that face come across as the sound
It
awesome
did. It was
face?
just
All right.
full of joy. All right. Well, listen to Irv's advice. Adversity is on its way, but with God, you can't lose. Boom. Episode 98. Hey,
Yeah,
you're in
get
the
it
first
right.
100. You're in the first 100 VIP right there. No,
I'm in the first 100. I'm like, if I was number 100, that'd be cool.
that would be, I mean, I could make it 100. I
Whatever.
could,
I'm
if,
87, the 90s, 93, 64, whatever. Just pick a number, throw it on there.
like, just,
98. I had got held back 2 years. I was a 96, and then I got held back 2
there
years,
you
and I'm
go. There
98.
you go.
There we go.
Well, thank you, Mr. Irv. And the next time I see you, hopefully you'll be visiting with your family in Tennessee.
Yes.
Take care, my friend.
All right.
Okay.